Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Girona, Spain. And today we're going to talk about are the don'ts of visiting Girona, because this is going to be a great day trip from Barcelona, or you can actually come and stay here and have a great time, because honestly, don't think all those tourists stay here, because if you come here in the evening time, the Barcelona tourists clear out and you have the city to yourself. So, might be something to consider when you're planning your trip. So if you're walking around, I got to tell you this, don't be surprised if you get a bit of Deja Vu back from the good old TV days, because they did film a bunch of Game of Thrones here. If you notice the cathedral and the basilica here, maybe it reminds you of a few shots from the TV show. And when you walk around and then you're on the walls, you'll definitely get that vibe. But another Deja Vu thing I want to talk about is actually when you're on the metal bridge here. This is the Eiffel Bridge, you know, the Eiffel Tower. You'll notice when you see the building this, you'll see, wait a minute, I can see kind of the influence of his work here and how it became part of the Eiffel Tower eventually. And this is one of the places where a lot of tourists come to get this great picture when you have the basilica and the cathedral. Really, really kind of cool. But yes, you do get some deja vu from the Game of Thrones, but also deja vu from seeing something from Eiffel. Don't be cheap. Pay the entry fee to go inside the Girona Cathedral. It is gorgeous. Yes, they'll talk about how the nave is the second largest in the world. The audio guide's actually pretty good, but it's the chapels that go around it, which are fantastic, and the stained glass windows, it's beautiful. And see, there's never really much of a line because people don't want to pay to go in. But I'll be honest with you, it is worth every euro you spend to go in. It was $7.50 when I went in, so probably $8.50 next time when you go. But honestly, it is well worth it to go in there. Worth every penny. So don't be cheap. Also, don't think that this is the original cathedral, because the basilica was the original cathedral. Also well worth checking out when you are here. You'll see its tower from all over town. So when you're walking around Girona, don't forget to get the sweet treat, Chuchos. And basically what it is, it's just, it's fried dough with cream inside. You know, like a choux pastry? You know, for those great British Bake-Off fans, this is what they have here. You get them when they're hot. They roll them in some sugar before they give them to you. Well worth getting when you're walking around. And what's nice, you don't have to buy like 10 of them at a time. You can literally just buy one and do that. So you got options. I got 4. So sugary specialties like Chuchos are not your thing. Don't worry. They have some salty things too, like seriously salty things. Like, don't forget to have the salted anchovies when you're here. Girona is actually famous for that. So you can get them and just pop in your mouth and go. Maybe put them in a salad, put them on your bread, whatever. You can do that when you're here, so you have that. Another don't forget to eat when you come here is the botifada. Botifada is a sausage, but here they make it sweet. It's like a sweet botifada. They put sugar in it. It tastes really different, but it actually is pretty good, and you'll see it around on offer a number of places. So when you're thinking, why at botifada back in Barcelona? Why do I want to hear? Because it's sweet. And some places when you get the botifada, they'll let you choose if you want white botifada or black botifada. I like the white one better. That's what my friends from here actually recommend I get, and I've enjoyed that when I've been here. But yeah, I mean, the sweet one, sweet botifada sausage, pretty good. Another important don't I think I need to mention about traditional Spanish food when you come to Girona, don't think their Spanish omelet has gone off. Because you notice like at your hotel and some of the restaurants, they'll have the Spanish omelet, you know, and you'll be like, the tortilla española looks like it's turned a bit green. Don't worry about that. They actually put vegetables in their Spanish omelets here, so that's why it has that green tinge, okay? So don't think it's like mold or anything. It just, that's how they eat it here. Because I know when I saw it this morning for breakfast, I'm like, is that okay? So just have a heads up for it. So when you get tired of walking up and down all these steps and all the cobblestones and fighting through the tourists, don't forget there's a number of museums you can visit when you're here in Girona. It's not just, taking in the views and reliving, Game of Thrones stuff from 20 years ago. No, you can go around and see some fantastic museums. If you're in El Cal, that's the Jewish quarter, you can go to the Jewish History Museum and really understand a lot more and learn a lot more about the history of the Jewish community here in Girona. There's also the Art Museum in Girona, which is huge. You can go and see that. It's a large collection there. You also have the Archaeology Museum. You've got the History of Girona Museum. I mean, there's a number of museums you can check out, so you're not just stuck walking up and down and seeing all these things and fighting through tourists everywhere you go and all the steps and everything. So just know you can do that. So it could be more than just a day trip to see like the historic architecture, but also take in some museums and have a good time and maybe have a good bite to eat or two as well. Also, when you're going around, don't forget to check out the Arab baths when you're here. Yes, can you tell it's a little popular? But I guess I have to actually add another don't. Don't think you actually get to go into the water. It doesn't work that way. You're actually just doing a tour of seeing the old baths that are there. It's kind of a cool thing. I mean, you can't beat a line like that. That you can go through and, walking around is very nice. And I know I'm not up on the walls right now, but actually don't forget you can walk on the city walls here in certain parts when you are in Girona. So don't forget to go check out the city walls as well. But don't worry, the line goes really quickly. Even if it is a weekend, popular, and all kinds of stuff going on, it's still moving through pretty quick for the Baz. When you're walking around Girona, I gotta tell you this, don't be surprised if you get a little claustrophobic, because these are medieval streets and medieval walkways and medieval pathways with lots of tourists in them. So you have people around you all of the time. So you might get a little freaked out by that sometimes. So do be aware of it. And also do pay attention, because since there's so many tourists, when you come here, you know who usually shows up too. Those pickpockets don't just work on La Rambla in, Barcelona. Some of them come here as well. It's not as bad, but it is something to kind of be aware of. But honestly, it can get a little tight in some of the spots. But there is a solution to that. And if you do get kind of freaked out with that kind of claustrophobic alleyways and passageways with all the tourists there, I gotta tell you this, don't worry. Walk back towards the river, come walk on La Rambla, okay? Don't pass up La Rambla to give yourself some space. There's restaurants on here as well. Actually, underneath some of the porticos here, there's restaurants there too. You can do that, and that can get you out of like the tourist crampiness, because I have seen some tourists getting a little freaked out because there's so many people here. I'm here on a Sunday right now, and it is packed. The stores are closed, but the tourists are here in full force. Oh, don't worry, there'll be plenty of bridges for you to walk over to take in these colorful houses along the way, whether it's the Eiffel Bridge or some of the other ones. It is kind of a cool thing to check out these things. But I will tell you this, don't expect to be able to walk along the river. Houses go right up to it, so just have a heads up for it. You got to take in the view from the bridges. And don't forget to look up when you're walking around here in Girona, because you'll see nice little flowers hanging from the roof, or seeing some of the great design on the sides of the buildings. It's one of the things I think tourists kind of miss out on, because they come here for a day trip and they make the beeline. I must go to the Jewish district. I must see the art museum. I must see the bridge. I've seen the blinders on, and make sure you do look up so you see some really beautiful stuff when you are here. All right, so don't forget to do that when you're in Girona, okay? Look up. And though I did mention don't forget to look up, I also want to say is don't forget to look down. You're going to need to make sure you bring some good walking shoes when you come to Girona, because there's a lot of cobblestone you're going to be walking in, and if it rains at all, this stuff is pretty slick. I've seen a few tourists already bite it today walking around, so do be aware of that, because you are going to walk a lot. So nice sturdy shoes with some good grip is going to be helpful. But a little bit of rain comes through and boom, you might be falling down, all right? But don't worry, there's plenty of places to heal your pride with the restaurants and bars around the town. Here's a low-key don't for you. Don't be surprised if you get frustrated with the other tourists that are here. Look, with those claustrophobic passageways and streets and things, and the number of tourists that come here, especially in summertime on the weekends when it's just packed full of tourists, people's patience get a little low. So don't be surprised if you have some old lady shoving you out of the way to get a picture, or some couple wanting to walk holding hands and push you off to the side. I mean, just be aware of that, and just have your patience when you come here. Because again, in the evening time, most of the tourists go away. But during those peak times, during the days, do have a heads up, have a bit more patience, and just know, Kalina. All right, let's talk about some of those transportation don'ts here in Girona. One thing, don't feel you have to take the tour from Barcelona to come here. That bus tour, you don't need to do it. You can take the train yourself to get out here. There's the fast train that comes out here, 38 minutes, or you can take the regional train for an hour and a half. And when you look online, it's like Google will only tell you the fast train. There are regional trains quite often from Barcelona Sants that come here, no big deal. And when you're going to go back to Barcelona, the regional train, there's 2 an hour. So you're fine to get there all day, all evening. So you're okay, all right? So that's one thing I want you to know. Don't feel you have to do it with the tour. You can literally do this all on your own. Now, if you want to do a tour, don't worry about finding a tour. There are tons of tours to bring you here. There's tons of tours here for you to do, whether it's architecture, history, Game of Thrones. I mean, there's a lot of tours you can do when you're here. Another little tricky thing I have for you is don't think you're on the beach when you come to Girona. This is actually up inland, okay? You're at a higher elevation. And I know people get thrown off because the airport is Girona Costa Brava Airport. And you're thinking, Costa Brava, the coast. Beaches must be right there. No, you got about a 45-minute drive down to the beach if you want to do that, okay? So you can't hit the beach, you can't do Costa Brava, but this is not a beach town, okay? So bring clothing appropriate for a little bit higher elevation in case it gets a little cool in the evening or during the day. And for those of you that flew into Girona instead of Barcelona El Prat, don't worry. You can get to Barcelona easily from the airport here. There's plenty of buses that'll take you right there. Or you come into town, grab the train in. It's no big deal. They've made it very simple for you, so just know that. But remember, Girona is not in Barcelona, okay? Even though some of the airlines kind of push that as an alternative, so be aware of that. But the airport's good in getting you back home to Barcelona, don't worry. So I hope that helped you have an idea of what you don't or maybe do when you come here to Girona. If you want to learn more, maybe the eats of visiting Girona, or you want to know things about Barcelona, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you know all those things. So go and subscribe and learn some new travel fun facts, new travel fun do's and don'ts each week and every Wednesday and Saturday. So I'll say bye from here, not at Westeros. We're here in Girona. Bye.